All right, everyone, here is the Tallow Market Takeover, baby. All right, so the first step on the plan is to get the writing on the wall. We already got it, boom, done. Okay, so the next thing we want to do in the system is we want to try to build a step-by-step plan of how we're going to take over the game, how we're going to get every single fraternity on this campus to be getting meals from Tallow Market, okay? And they're going to be asking, hey, Anthony, how are we going to do that? How are we going to figure it out? A lot of these places already have contracts with, other businesses. But this is the thing that stands apart from us, from me, is that I'm a kid, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm ready to grow. These old guys, they don't got the drive like I do, okay? And that's where we're gonna differ, that's where we're gonna excel. So let's run through the blueprint real quick. So right now, we are making, I'm gonna estimate about, we have a solidified, guaranteed 115 meals a week right now from Sigma Pi, okay? Sigma Pi. Now, I'm gonna say we have an average of 60 plus meals a week by other customers. Others. Which leaves us with a total of 175 meals every week. Excuse me. So here's where I'm thinking. Right now we're in a kind of predicament where if we, excel and we get a couple more fraternities, we're going to be making 300 plus meals. And I don't think that our kitchen has the ability to hold that. So more frats equals no house cooking. Now the thing is, if we get the rental space now, then we could figure all that out. But then we have to get LLC'd, we have to get trademarked, we have to get the tax ID number. We have to do all these things that we've kind of been putting off, you know what I mean? Because it's not real yet. So that's the only problem with, once we actually put the foot down and we're gonna say, okay, we're doing all these things, we're doing it legal, we're doing everything with insurance, everything like that, boom, now we've created a hole for ourselves. And my goal has always been to spend the least amount of money on the outside, okay? On the outside. Because I am lucky enough, I am grateful enough to have parents who blessed up with being able to go to their house and use the kitchen and be able to run and facilitate the whole business out of their kitchen and their house, where this would have been impossible if I didn't have that. If I didn't have that at my disposal, it would have been impossible. But with great power becomes great responsibility, which is why I'm proud of myself for utilizing it in the right way, okay? Because I could be having parties, I could be doing all sorts of bullshit over there, but no, I decided to start a business out of that house, okay? So right now we got all this stuff. Now let's talk about renting a space. So rent space. So once we rent the space, just like we said, that means everything is real now. Now there's good and bad things about this, because there's good things because now this is a real business and this business can be bought out, which is amazing, which is like the coolest opportunity ever. Like, I think if I were to take this business right now, put it on the market, put everything, it would be $10,000-$15,000. Someone would buy it right now for $10,000-$15,000. That's amazing, that's awesome, but that's not what I want, okay? Because I know this business has potential to grow, to fucking soar. And someone would come in and they want to buy it and they want to replicate it, but the thing is, the thing that they cannot replicate is me. That's the thing they can't replicate. And that's what I say to people, be yourself, be your true, authentic self, because no one can replicate you. So rent space, everything is real. Now, this is the second option. Plan B. Second option is we just got a huge deposit down from Sig Pi. All right? they gave $8,000 up front for the semester's worth of meals. Now there's also another group paying weekly, and that group is going to be paying $6,000 total at the end of the semester. Hopefully we can continue to keep those clients reoccurring and they end up paying for the whole semester and we get that $14,000 in sales. That would be fantastic. I would love that. That is the best thing I could ask for right now, but we're gonna have to work to keep those people in the loop. So we have this right here. Now this would equal this, okay? But the thing is, we don't have enough equipment or space or time for the bullshit, okay? So what I need to be doing is utilizing this $8,000 that's in my checking account right now to growing the business even further, okay? And how we're gonna do that? Well, first thing is rice cooker, okay? Rice cooker, we need a rice cooker. We got it, boom, on the way. Second barbecue, preferably a Blackstone. So the Blackstone is going to be totally game changing for us because this is going to allow us to cook ground beef, to cook steak, to cook chicken, to cook shrimp, to cook peppers, all on one grill. Whereas before, we're using up the stovetop to cook ground turkey, ground beef, and it's not working, okay? It's not working because we're trying to cook pasta for the Sig Pie guys and we have to take off the burners to go for peppers and to go for beef. And if we can just throw that on a big ass grill right outside, right next to the other grill, we can be doing chicken on one grill, we could be doing steak with a little bit of side of the peppers on top. That is what I'm fucking talking about. I like that shit, okay? And that's what we need to be doing because we need to be saving time, okay? Because time equals money if we didn't know that. Let's go. All right? So, barbecue, okay? So we gotta get that. So, we'll put a circle. The next thing we're gonna need for option 2, more ovens. So, oven space. Now, I'll tell you what, if they made a thing where you could fucking buy a rolling oven, that would be generational. We're gonna have to invent that. Maybe a propane tank oven. How can we figure out how to do that? An oven run by a propane tank, it's on wheels, you wheel it in and out, you can rent it for your house. This would be something substantial. We're gonna think about this, we're gonna invent this, okay? So, boom, oven space, we need it, okay? Another circle. Now, the thing is, if we get this deal, right, we get some more people, we need these things, okay? This is not like a want for, the fun of the company, this is a need now. The oven space is the biggest problem right now. The Blackstone, we could just buy a Blackstone. That ain't really no problem. But I haven't heard of a portable oven. I'm gonna have to research that after this video. But that's what we want, that's what we need, and this is what we're going to do. Once the weather gets better, bro, no one wants to go outside right now. It's fucking shitty out, snow, all this bullshit, okay? When the weather gets nicer, we're gonna go out on foot. Or we're gonna pay someone, okay, right? So this is what we're gonna allocate the funds. We're gonna allocate $1K to on-the-foot sales, door knocking, door sales, getting these connections with the fraternities, getting them to sign deals, getting them to work with us instead of the competition. Now we're gonna allocate $4,000 back into the business. Okay, so that'll be reinvestment through Blackstone, containers, packaging, stickers, possible, I don't even fucking know, maybe more rice cookers, stuff like that. Anything that will get us easier to our goal, easier to produce, less time. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for less time, less bullshit, okay? Boom. Now, there's $3K left over, okay? $2K is going straight to the savings. Straight to my savings, boom. 1K left, spending, okay? Now, you might be like, you're gonna spend $1,000, Anthony? This is your first deal. Why would you do that, okay? I'm gonna tell you why I'm gonna spend that 1,000, okay? I'm gonna spend that 1,000 because that is gonna be my reward for all the hard work that I've done so far. So I'm gonna pay myself to work, okay? So I'd be like, wow, that's a really interesting concept, right? I'm gonna go out and door knock, okay? And I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna fucking, knock on those doors and get the fraternities and get people in there and get the samples and do all that shit. I'm gonna pay myself back for all that work that I'm doing. Because the problem is, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of business owners, they're making the money, they're doing all this stuff, and they're seeing it come in, but they're not paying themselves as a reward. You know what I mean? Think about it for a second. They're just receiving the money. Oh, I'm the business owner. I'm gonna take, most of the profit. Okay, I'm gonna pay my employees, I'm gonna pay my cost of goods, I'm gonna pay everything, you know what I mean? Rent, boom, bobbity bop bop bop. But then the factor they leave out is the reward for themselves. Okay? So what I'm saying is reverse that. Okay? Reverse that. Pay yourself for all the hard work that you do, and you will continue to do hard work because you know you're going to be paid for it. If I know I'm going to get $75 an hour going and walking around outside, you don't think I'm going to do that? $75 an hour, bro? That's fucking sick money, bro. That shit's going right to whatever I want to do. I want to go out to dinner. I want to buy something. I want to buy a whole cow. I'm going to be able to fucking do that shit, okay? So that's what the 8K is going to. Now, if we get this 6K reoccurring, which I hope we do, this is going to change the game. By the end of the year, we should have around 10,000 stacked up, okay? 10,000. Now, this is on top of the, I would say probably 32,000 in the investment accounts, you know what I mean? So we're gonna be balling pretty good, I won't even lie. And I would like to see at the end of the year, total net worth, 50K. That's what I want. I want 50K by the end of the semester, okay? And that's doable. On the path we are on, that is 100% doable. Okay, but we have to follow these steps for the tallow market takeover. So a lot of thoughts going through the brain, a lot of things going on, and we have to just put the pin on it, put the bullet on it. Because the problem that I'm having is today, I got up, I executed all the things I had to do today, but it was so slow. I write down everything I need to do for the day in a calendar, okay? And usually what happens is I end up finishing all those things, right, before I go to bed, okay? So today, I'm doing the last thing on my list right now, and it's 8:46. I shouldn't be doing that. I should have been already done with everything I needed to do and getting ready to unwind and do my last couple things where I journal, maybe read a couple pages, fill up the water, clean the room, get everything nice and tidy for tomorrow. But no, I'm doing something that I should have done hours ago, okay? So I'm making the excuses right now. Pretty stressful, I will say. I was very stressed last week. I'm feeling a little bit better. I'm feeling definitely a lot better. But it's awesome. Getting that money hit, the 8K right in the checking account, that was a fucking amazing feeling. And I want to get that shit again, okay? And I know it's going to happen because that's how it goes. So we're going to continue working, continue growing for Tallow, and we're going to keep you guys updated on the Tallow takeover, if we're choosing A or B, and how we're going to mainstream and streamline this business. Take over Penn State, 200K by senior year. Let's fucking